start. Let me share my screen with you. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Yeah, Dr. Adit, fine.
Great. So, briefly, I would like to tell about my experience. So, um, I was not a qualitative researcher initially, but this aspect of research, that is qualitative research, it has recently excited me, and it's really a great way to know about the data. So qualitative analysis is really coming up in throughout the world, and a lot of people are now turning from quantitative research to qualitative research, or they are mixing both the type of researches, both qualitative research and quantitative research. So we call it mixed research. So this will be the agenda of today's workshop. So I'll briefly cover what qualitative analysis is and why it is important. Then I'll be covering about methods which are popularly used in qualitative analysis. Then I'll be discussing on how we do coding in qualitative analysis, because the most important aspect of qualitative analysis is the coding part. So we'll be dealing about coding in qualitative analysis. Also, I'll be giving a demonstration of coding on NVivo platform. Although this NVivo is a paid software, but if it is not feasible to you to use a paid software, you can also do this coding on Microsoft Word, because this is a very simple process to do codings. But I will be today I'll be using NVivo platform for the demonstration. Then I will be dealing on different approaches and methods that we use in qualitative analysis. Then we will be dealing about popular coding methods. So there are a lot of coding methods which are used. So any of them which can suit to your area of research, you can use it. So we'll be also dealing about popular coding methods. Then I'll be providing a demonstration on how to do a thematic analysis on NVivo. So I'll be having an interview transcript, and I will be demonstrating the thematic analysis so that all of you can understand how we do this in NVivo platform. And then if time permits, we'll be discussing about common mistakes that we commit in qualitative analysis. So let's begin. What do we mean by qualitative analysis? A lot of students, they have a lot of query. Some people, they think that this qualitative analysis is not important. Some of them find it very difficult to conduct a qualitative analysis. So what exactly is qualitative analysis? So by qualitative analysis, you can understand that it is not based on data. Okay, so it is not based on any statistical tools, or any scales are not used in conducting a qualitative analysis. So if any data is not used, then what do we use in qualitative analysis? So other than data, whatever you see, such as interview transcripts, or any document is there, or any response, open-ended response is there. We all might be knowing that whenever we ask questions in a survey or in a questionnaire, we make use of open-ended questions and closed-ended questions. So we can analyze the open-ended questions through the use of qualitative analysis. Then we can also analyze images or visuals. So any photograph we can analyze using qualitative analysis. We can analyze videos. We can analyze short videos or whatever videos we have through qualitative analysis. So this is a very powerful tool, and a lot of researchers throughout the world, they are making use of this tool to make new theories, or to come up with what we call new models. So this is really very important, and today we are going to see how this works. Okay, so these are some of the aspects. Interview transcripts, if you are having, or if you are having documents, or if you are having survey questions, open-ended questions, responses to open-ended questions, if you are having images, visuals, or videos, you can analyze it using qualitative analysis. So this is the main difference between a qualitative analysis and a quantitative analysis. So what all methods are used in qualitative analysis? So many methods are there which are used in qualitative analysis. Okay, so the most popular method that we use in qualitative analysis is content analysis. Okay, so content analysis is I will discuss all this analysis in a bit more detail, but let us see what all analysis are there that we can perform in qualitative analysis. The first analysis that we can perform is content analysis. Then we have narrative analysis. Suppose we have to see the opinion of some person, then we go for narrative analysis. Then we have discourse analysis, we have thematic analysis. So thematic analysis is again a very powerful method, and using NVivo, we mostly do this thematic analysis. This is a very powerful method, and a lot of researchers throughout the world, they are now engaging with thematic analysis. So we'll be discussing this thematic analysis in great detail today. Then we have grounded theory, and the last method that we use in qualitative analysis is IPA. So the full form of IPA is interpretative phenomenological analysis. So I will briefly describe each and every method that we use so that it is clear to the participants. So the first method that we use in qualitative analysis is called content analysis. This is the most common method. And so in this content analysis, what we do is we evaluate the piece of content, whatever content we are having. Suppose we are having a chapter or a book, or we are having a newspaper. So what we do is we evaluate patterns that emerge out of that. So what do we mean by pattern that emerge out of that? We mainly mean the frequency with which the idea is shared. Okay. Suppose the prime minister of any country, how many times the person says development in his speech. We can study that using content analysis. So we also get a frequency in this content analysis. So we get numbers out of this. This is the only method of qualitative analysis where we can also get numbers. So this is what we call content analysis. Okay, so a lot of examples are there in this. Suppose we are analyzing that how many tweets regarding climate change happened today from United Kingdom. So the number that we get, that is also a part of content analysis. Then we can analyze it using coding. Okay, so this is a vast area, this content analysis. But before starting this content analysis, we must be clear that we are having a research question. Without having a research question, it is impossible to do any type of qualitative analysis, because we will be lost in this world. Okay, because this qualitative analysis is such a big subject that we will be completely lost. So before starting this content analysis, we have to be very clear. We have to be very clear regarding our research question. Okay. Then what we do is, after getting our research question, we try to code the data that we have. So coding I'll discuss in detail in the later part of this session. So with coding, what do? We see the frequency of how many times that thing has been spoken by that person, or that how many times that thing has appeared in the text. So with that, we can see the coding part. So as I told earlier, this content analysis, it provides some quantitative aspect to our analysis, because it is based on frequencies. Okay. Methods, they are much time consuming. You must be very clear in mind that it is not a very easy method, because it will consume a lot of time. You have to go over that thing again and again. You have to see the entire thing again and again. Then only you will be able to get the frequency out of it. So this was the first method which is widely used. In students' dissertation also, you will see that this content analysis, it is widely used in master's thesis or in master's dissertation. So the next type of analysis that we do in quantitative and qualitative analysis is narrative analysis. So what do we mean by narrative analysis? Narrative, as you know, it arises from narration. So we are listening to people in this. We listen to people and we analyze the meaning that they give to the sentences. Whatever they speak, we analyze what they have spoken about. Suppose we are interviewing an entrepreneur, and we are asking that entrepreneur who has started a startup. We are asking that entrepreneur about their startup journey. So this is a type of narrative analysis in which we can transcribe their interview, how they describe their entrepreneurship journey, and then we try to make conclusions out of it. So in narrative analysis, what will the sample look like? It will be a very small sample. So we can conduct a narrative analysis on three person or three startup founders or five startup founders, and then we can generalize the findings among all. So this is a very popular method which has recently grown, and we have seen narrative analysis of a lot of people also. Mostly we do this narrative analysis to generalize the ideas of that person over a wide population. Okay. But before conducting this narrative analysis, we must be very clear in our mind that we should not involve our personal bias into the results. Okay, so what do we mean by that? So each and every researcher who is conducting the research, he is having some personal feelings. He is having some personal ifs and buts. Okay, so we have to be very clear that our personal what we call our personal ideas and opinions do not fall in this. Okay, so this is what we mean by narrative analysis. The other part of analysis is the other analysis that we do in qualitative analysis is discourse analysis. So what do we mean by discourse? So discourse is nothing but it is studying the interactions and conversations. Okay, so how a language is spoken, how a written or how a language is written or spoken, or how a debate, how a person participates in a debate. So we analyze language. Okay, we analyze language in a social context. Suppose suppose there is a person who is in jail for a lot many years. So if we go to him and we speak about that, how is his perception about being in jail, or what is his perception about freedom, so about his opinion, or how his opinion matters in the social world, we can study this thing in discourse analysis. Okay, so this is also a very useful method which students are mostly using nowadays. And but again, this is a very time consuming method. And as I'm telling again and again, before doing any type of qualitative analysis, we must be clear about our research aims, objectives, and questions. Okay, because if we will not take care of these three, so these three are also called golden thread. If any one of you is taking note, you please take a note of this. Research aims, objectives, and questions, these are called golden thread. So you must be very clear about the golden thread before conducting this qualitative analysis. Otherwise, you will be just lost and the results will not align to anything. Okay, so this is what we mean by discourse analysis. Then we have the most popular qualitative method, which is called thematic analysis. So we will be discussing about thematic analysis in a lot more detail. I also have an interview transcript which we will be analyzing through NVivo software, NVivo platform. So what do we mean by thematic analysis? Thematic analysis is nothing but to give patterns to the data set. What patterns emerge from the data set or from the interview that we have conducted, that can be understood using thematic analysis. So what do we do in this? We give meaning to the data that we have collected. Okay, so whatever interview we have collected, we try to provide meaning to it. Okay, so suppose we are reviewing the comments that restaurants receive. Suppose we are in a city of London and there are a lot of restaurants over there in a particular area. So we choose one area and we try to see that what all comments people give regarding that restaurant. So then we can try to provide themes. We can try to provide quotes to those comments, and then we get what we call themes out of that data. Okay, so this is a really powerful method, thematic analysis, and we will be conducting this in live time. So suppose we are analyzing reviews of this Thai restaurant, and the themes that emerge from that is friendly staff or fresh outlook. So with this, we can see that what are the views of people, on the Thai restaurants. Okay, so this is a very powerful method, thematic analysis, and we will see a lot about this in today's session. Then we have grounded theory. So this is another very important thing. So grounded theory, what does this mean? This means that you are creating a new theory out of your own. Okay, so suppose you don't know anything. You might have heard about what we call theoretical framework. Suppose you don't have any theoretical framework in your mind and you are doing a fresh start. So whenever we do a fresh start and we try to make some theory out of our own, then we go for grounded theory. So in grounded theory, what do? We try to create our own theory. And we go to the research field without any data. Okay, without any data, with an open mind. We don't have any hypothesis, we don't have any theory. So we try to develop theory as data emerges. Okay, so this is a very popular method. And suppose there is a very recent topic out of which nothing is available, no information is available. Suppose you were conducting a a research on the perception of students regarding COVID-19 in the month of April in 2020. So this COVID-19, it became a pandemic in the early 2020. And suppose in the initial 1 or 2 months, you were conducting a research of which the objective was to know the perception of students regarding COVID-19. So there is no theory regarding this. Okay, so there is no theory regarding a pandemic, how people respond to a pandemic. So in this case, what we could have done, we could have conducted a grounded theory approach in qualitative analysis, because nothing was known to us and we were very fresh. So we could have created a new theory out of that. Okay, that would have been a great contribution to the qualitative domain. So this is what we mean by grounded theory. Then the next thing that we have is interpretative phenomenological analysis. In short, it is called IPA. So this IPA is designed to know the personal experiences of people. Okay. So suppose we are interested in knowing the personal experience of some people who have done something which is really extraordinary. So then we go for this type of analysis. Suppose a person has gone to the moon, and we want to see the experience of that person, how he felt when he knew that he has gone to the moon for the first time. So we can study these aspects using IPA. Okay. Other common example is that suppose a person is suffering from some genetical diseases, which is stuck with him since his childhood. So we can also know about his experiences regarding this using this IPA. So we can know about his experiences or how he felt when he was first diagnosed with that disease using this method, interpretative phenomenological analysis. So this is a very powerful method. In this method, you have to be very clear that your sample size is going to be very small. Okay, because you will not get a lot of people who are having the same experience. So sample size will be small. So if the sample size is small, can you tell that what is the problem if the sample size is small? Can you write in the chat box what will be the problem if the sample size is going to be small? What is the problem? So if the sample size is small, it is difficult to generalize the findings, isn't it? It is difficult to generalize the findings. So yeah, it is difficult to generalize the findings. So it is better to use large samples. But if we don't have any personal bias, and if we are very self-aware regarding the analysis, then the sample can be generalized. If we have small sample also, it can be generalized. Okay. So this what we call 5 methods I have discussed, and all these methods have their own advantages and disadvantages. All this 6 methods that I have discussed, all of these are having their own advantages and disadvantages. So being a student, what you have to do is, or being a researcher, what you have to do is, you have to find the perfect fit for your research. Okay. So suppose you are it is very confusing to know what exactly will fit into my qualitative analysis, which analysis is exactly going to fit into qualitative analysis. If you are confused regarding this, what you can do is, you can combine 1 or 2 methods. Okay. So you can combine content analysis with thematic analysis. So it will help you in getting better data. It will help you in getting better responses. Okay. So this is called triangulation. When we combine 1 or 2 methods together, then it is called triangulation. But you have to be very clear that when you go for triangulation, you will have to devote a lot of time, and it will consume a lot of time of yours, and it will be a hard work. But it will give you better results. And that results can be more generalizable. It will be easier to publish an article or a journal article if you go for triangulation. But with this, what we call 5 methods, I hope it is clear to you that these are the 6 methods that we can use in qualitative analysis. Okay. So as I was telling earlier also, how we can know about the right method. So which method is most appropriate to your dissertation topic or your research topic? It depends on your aims, objectives, and research questions. So I was talking about this golden thread, isn't it? So what is golden thread? There should be a correlation. There should be a high coherence between the aims, objectives, and your research questions. Only if there will be a high coherence between these three, it will be easier to generalize your ideas and it will be easier to publish your findings. Okay. So your research aims and objectives should be very clear before choosing the QDA method that I have described before. Now uh, let us come to the Brown and Clark method. So all of you might be knowing this Brown and Clark. These are very famous authors of qualitative analysis. You will see a lot of books on Sage publication authored by this Brown and Clark. So they have given 6-phase guide for conducting thematic analysis. Okay, they have given 6-phase guide for conducting thematic analysis, and in today's workshop we'll be making use of this 6-phase guide to understand this thematic analysis. Okay, so this was given by Brown and Clark in the year 2006. And what are these? The first step is that you have to get familiar with the data. Okay, so you have to read the text again and again to become familiar with whatever you are studying. Suppose you have conducted a focus group discussion of people in a village, of different people in a village. Suppose the total number of participants in that focus group discussion was 8. Okay, so you have to what we have to do. Firstly, what you have to do, you have to set your questions, your research questions, what you are going to ask to those people in focus group discussions. Whatever responses you get, the first step is that you have to transcribe those information. What do we mean by transcribe? Can anyone say in the chat box what do we mean by transcribe? So transcribe means you have to take a note of it. You have to write the entire narration, whatever interviews you have conducted. You have to write it in verbatim. Okay, you have to write everything what you have. Yeah, you have to turn the audio in text, verbatim text, right? So you have to take a note of everything. Okay, so what we mostly do is we try to make use of recordings. We go for focus group discussions using a small tape recorder, and after coming from the interviews, we just transcribed entire transcript of it. We prepare entire transcript of it. Then what we have to do, we have to, in the first step, we have to read that transcript again and again, so that we get a familiarity regarding the data. In second step, what we do is we try to generate codes. Okay, we try to generate codes. So what do we mean by that? We will discuss that coding part in great detail. Then after generating code, what we do is we try to search the themes. Then in the fourth step, what we do, we try to review the themes. Okay, we try to review the themes. Then in the fifth step, we define the themes. And then in the last step, what we do is we write down the themes. So this is the entire process of thematic analysis, how we conduct thematic analysis. Okay, so now let us go to the coding part. Okay, so now let us go to the coding part. So before conducting thematic analysis, we have to be very clear regarding coding part. Okay, then only we will go for a demonstration of NVivo. Okay, so please pay attention to whatever I speak from now on. Pay greater attention, because this is really very important when we conduct thematic analysis using any software. So in the first stage, what we do is we see what is code. What is a code? Okay, so what do we mean by code? A code is nothing but it is a process to define the content. Okay, suppose we have a transcript. So what we have to do, we have to see each and every line of the transcript, and we have to provide labels to that line. Okay, suppose in the first line someone has spoken about their experiences regarding online learning. So whatever code that emerges about on that first sentence, we will try to give a label to that first sentence. Okay, suppose a statement is there in which it is written, hackers led to a loss of data from the federal government. So we can see several codes of this statement. One of the code will be hacker, or the other code that we can derive is loss of data. So it is not necessary that your code should only be a single word. Okay, your code can also be a sentence. It depends entirely on the researcher whether your code is a single word or whether it is a sentence. So this is how we do coding. Okay, So we go for coding, and we go for coding exhaustively. So it is a really very exhaustive process to code the entire transcript, but you will have to do this when we go for thematic analysis. Okay, so we try to label each and every data that we have. We try to label each and every sentence that we have. Sometimes what you will see is that the researcher, what they will do, they will not code each and every sentence, but instead they will code each and every paragraph. Okay, so that can also be done. It is not necessary that you have to code each and every sentence. You can also code each and every paragraph. But the thing is that you will get more, your research will be more relevant, and it will be more exhaustive if you will cover each and every sentence. So it is always recommended to cover each and every sentence. And how this coding is done, I will demonstrate it using NVivo. So there are two types of codings. Particularly, there are two types of codings. The first type of coding is called deductive coding. Okay, and the second type of coding is called inductive coding. So this two type of coding, again, it depends on the research objectives that you have set, the research methodology that you have set. Okay, so in case of deductive coding, what happens is that we already have a code in our mind. We have a list of codes in our mind. We already have a list of codes, and we try to find those codes in our transcript. So this is what we mean by deductive coding. We already have a code book with us, and we try to make use of those codes that we already have in finding the different sentences or different paragraphs. So this approach is mostly used in when we are using when we are using some theory. Suppose you are trying to test some theory. Suppose there is a theory called parasocial theory, parasocial interaction theory. Suppose you are trying to make use of that theory. So whatever codes are evident from that theory, if you are using those codes and you are trying to test that theory with the interviews that you have conducted, then we will go for deductive approach. We already have a set of codes with us, and then we will just find those codes, whether those codes align to the transcript that we have in our hand. So this type of coding is called deductive coding. The other type of coding which is also very popular is called inductive coding. So in inductive coding, what do we do? This type of coding is relevant in case of, can anyone say in the chat box in which type of research methodology this inductive coding is used? Out of those 6 methods that I have told you a while ago, in what method this inductive coding will be used? Okay, so new research, yeah, grounded theory, absolutely. So those who have written grounded theory, tap yourself, because this is absolutely correct. So in grounded theory, what do? We don't have any predefined code book in our mind. Okay, we don't have anything which is predefined. So we start with a blank canvas. We don't have anything. We study everything with a very open mind. Okay, and we develop all the codes out of our own by reviewing the data set again and again. So this inductive coding is mostly used in grounded theory approach. Okay, so sometimes a question will arise in your mind. What will be that question? That question will be that why do we go for coding? It is evident sometimes when you go for qualitative interviews, when you go for focus group discussions, or when you go for one-to-one interviews, what you will see is that this is evident. With the transcript, when you read the transcript, the themes will be very evident to you. Okay, whatever theme is emerging, it will be evident to you. So then why do we go for coding? Why do we go for such long process? Why do we code each and every sentence? It is a very time consuming process. Why it is important is because it will provide validity to your research. So whenever you will write a research article or whatever, so the editor may ask you that what were the codes out of which you have generated this theme. Okay, so if you will not be able to provide the codes to them, they won't be publishing your research. Okay, so that is why coding is very important, because it provides validity to your research. Whatever research you are doing, it provides validity to it, so other people can review it in a very nice way, and then thus it provides transparency. Okay, it provides transparency to your research, and also anyone who is trying who wants to use your methodology in their research, they can use it very easily because they already have your code book with them. So it is very important to do coding. The other thing that we so the difference between deductive coding and inductive coding, it is discussed here. I will not go through this in detail. Only thing that you need to understand, I'll just discuss this thing with an example so that it is more clear to you. So suppose your research question is, what are the gaming habits of the students? Suppose you are going to a university and uh, you are interested in studying the gaming habits of students. Okay, so suppose the students will respond that they have they play football, they play online games, they play badminton, they play tennis, whatever. So suppose you have some pre-existing theory in your mind. Suppose you are making use of some theory, and so what you will be seeing is that you will see what are the possible codes that the theory has provided you, and then you will try to fit those codes in the interview that you conduct with the students. Okay, so this is a type of deductive coding. This is what is meant by deductive coding if you already have a code book in your mind. Okay, so what is the advantage of this type of coding? The advantage is that you already have the set of codes and you are just testing it among the students. And what is the disadvantage? The major disadvantage is that you won't be making any new generalization. Okay, it will be not possible to give any key insights because already you are having the code book with you. It will not give you something very new. So this is what is meant by deductive coding. And in inductive coding, what we do is, suppose as I have given you the example before also, suppose we were interested in understanding the perception of students regarding COVID-19 in the month of April in year 2020. So at that time, this pandemic has recently struck and no one was having any theory regarding this. So we go for often-ended interviews. We go for one-to-one interviews among the students, with the students, and then we try to develop our own codes, and then we try to give our own theory. We try to give our own themes, okay, and how those themes are related to each other. So this is what is meant by inductive coding. I hope this is clear to all of you, and so please remember this whenever you are going for coding. So that will be evident from the research question that you have framed. If you have um, if you have framed the research questions which depends highly on theoretical framework, okay, if you have a research question which is based on some theoretical framework, then you will be using deductive coding approach, isn't it? And if you don't have any theoretical framework in your mind, you are starting afresh, then we will go for inductive coding, right? I hope I am clear to all of you till now. Then we have suppose it is very difficult sometimes if you are a new researcher and if you are having difficulty in understanding this coding, inductive coding and deductive coding, and if you don't have anything very clear, if you don't have any crystal clear idea in your mind, so it is better to go for hybrid approach. What do you mean by hybrid approach? Is that you can use both deductive and inductive coding. Okay, so you can have some predetermined coding, and then you can also create some codes on your own. So if you combine both these approaches, that can also be done. It is also possible to combine both the approaches. If you are a new researcher, you can go for it. Okay, then as I told earlier also, and I will also demonstrate this in NVivo platform. So there are two types of codings. The first is called initial coding, in which we go through the data again and again. We read the interview transcript again and again to get a familiarity with the data. So with this is called initial coding. In initial coding, what we can get is we can get a set of codes. Okay, if we will go through the data again and again, we can get familiar in our mind that this can be the set of codes that I am going to use. And then we have line by line coding. So what is meant by line coding? Each and every sentence you have to code. Okay, each and every sentence you need to code. So it is a time taking process. So a lot many people who might have used NVivo, there is an option in NVivo which is called auto coding. And also, if you are using other software such as Max QDA, or you are using any other software, you will see an option called auto coding. So a lot of researchers, what they do is that they get confused. They think that why should I do that much of labor? Why should I devote that much of time? It is better to do auto coding. Okay, because this auto coding, it is based on artificial intelligence. And if you just click a single button, the computer will perform this. The software will perform this auto coding for you. But it is extremely difficult to replace a human being. Okay, so the results of auto coding could be very irrelevant, and it is very difficult. It is very difficult to generalize those results. So it is always recommended, and each and every qualitative researcher, they will recommend you not to make use of any not to make use of that feature, auto coding feature. You can make use of that feature if you want to gain some familiarity regarding that data. Suppose if you want to know something about initial coding, then you can go for auto coding. But please don't do that auto coding in your thesis or in your dissertation or in your research, because it will give you contrasting results, and those results, it is very difficult to generalize those results. So please don't make use of auto coding feature. Okay. Now I will be giving you a demonstration on NVivo in which we will be using interview transcripts. Okay, we'll be using interview transcripts. So before going to that, I would like to explain something about coding, different types of coding. So this coding also, it is of 5 types, and I will discuss this 5 types so that it becomes very clear to you how to make use of those codes. Okay, so the 5 types are called, the first type is called in vivo coding, then process coding, then descriptive coding, then structural coding, and then value coding. So how do you know that which coding is best for you? How do you know that which coding will be the best for you? How do we know that which coding is best for you? We know we can know which coding is best for us because, yeah, absolutely, we should be very clear about the golden thread, isn't it? The relationship between aims, objectives, and research questions that we have framed. So if we are very clear about the research, what we call the golden thread, then we will be able to know that what exactly we are conducting and what exactly do we want to do with this research. So with that, now since you know this, now let us discuss this coding methods. So first of all, let us discuss in vivo coding. So what do we mean by in vivo? Can anyone write in the chat box? What do we mean by in vivo? What do we mean by in vivo? Any one of you? What do we mean by in vivo? So since this is a workshop, I would like to ask your participation also, because a workshop can be useful only when you participate in this, isn't it? So in vivo, we have got a lot of responses in line inside the body in their own voice. So mostly what we mean by in vivo in this qualitative analysis in coding is what you have to write the exact words that the person has spoken. Okay, suppose you have gone to a tribal area to study something. So that tribal people, they might have different words for something. Suppose you call a tree, you call a mango tree. Okay, so they might call that mango tree with some other name. So what you do is you make use of their own words, whatever word they are using for that tree, you write their own words. Okay, so this type of coding is called in vivo coding. Suppose we are conducting a research on some cultural thing, on some cultural heritage of some ancient people. So then we can make use of this in vivo coding, because it will be very difficult for a person to know the exact meaning of that in our context. They might use some different words or sentences for that thing. Okay, so in that case, we can make use of in vivo coding. So whenever you are conducting a research on some cultural thing or some heritage thing or something which has some linguistic differences, then we go for in vivo coding, where we make use of the same words that the person has spoken. Okay, I hope this in vivo coding is clear. Then the next type of coding is called process coding. Okay, so sometimes what you do is we can study a tennis match. Okay, we can study the what we call the expression of the players who are playing tennis. So when you are studying something which has some movement involved or a procedure involved, such as we want to study the feelings of a doctor when he is conducting a surgery. Okay, so he will not speak anything, isn't it? He will not be going to speak anything. He is not going to speak anything. He is going to conduct some surgery. So you are a very keen observer. You have to be a very keen observer in process coding. You have to observe how he is operating on that patient, how he is making use of his hands, how he is speaking or how he is speaking to himself. So in this type of coding where movement is involved or where some process is involved, we try to make use of process coding. Okay, suppose our research is concerned with some action based thing, such as we are describing the quarrel between university students, how the university students quarrel, why they quarrel. If we are interested in studying that, then we will have to make use of process coding, isn't it? Because some what we call some movement is involved in that, some type of action based codes are used in that. Then the third type of coding is called descriptive coding. Okay, descriptive coding. So this coding is very important, and this is the widely used coding that we use. This is the most used coding technique, descriptive coding. In descriptive coding, what we do, we just try um, to describe that idea, isn't it? We try to describe that idea within few words or a sentence. Okay, so it is very essential to organize a big data set. Suppose we have a lot of interview transcripts and we are reading each and every sentence. So what we do is we will do descriptive coding. We will define each and every sentence. We will define codes. We'll provide codes to each and every sentence. Okay, so or suppose we are having some pictures and we want to describe those pictures, or we have some videos. Okay, so we want to describe those videos. So we can make use of descriptive coding. We can just see that in, suppose we have some audio. Okay, so we can see that in within 1 second to 10 seconds what that person has spoken. So we will pause the audio from 1 second to 10 seconds, and then we'll see that what code has emerged out of that first part from 1 second to 10 seconds. Then we will again play the video from 11 second to 20 second, and then we will code that part of the sentence if it is possible. Or I hope you are getting my point. So this is called descriptive coding. Then the next thing is that it is called structural coding. Structural coding. Suppose you go for a grounded theory approach in which you don't have anything in your mind. You don't know anything regarding this, regarding codes, pre-existing codes. You don't know anything. Then what we will do is we will try to go for structural coding. So we will go for interviews. Suppose you are conducting one-to-one interviews with the participants. So we will be clear in our mind that we will be asking questions on who, what, when, and how. Okay. So if we ask questions regarding who, what, when, where, and how, what will happen is that we can give structure to our interview. It will be very easy to interpret, isn't it? Because we can just see that with who, what they have told. When we asked about what they had to say. So we will provide a structure to the interview. And if we provide structure to the interview, it will be very easy for us to interpret it. Okay, we will not have to do a very thorough study then. It will save a lot of time of ours if we go for structural coding. So this is also a very important technique for coding process. You might be knowing that if we write dissertation or something, we give a lot of chapters, isn't it? We write the introduction chapter, we write the review of literature chapter, we write the methodology chapter. So what is that? That is a type of coding that you do. You have structured your thesis into different parts or into different components. so as to make it very clear, very crystal clear, isn't it? So when we go for open-ended interviews, we can make use of this. We can be very clear in our mind that we will be asking about who they are, what they are trying to do, where they are trying to do, how do they do this thing. Then we can ask questions, and then if we have a structure in our mind, what will happen is that it will be very easy to interpret all the interviews that we have conducted. So this is called structural coding. Then we have values coding. Okay, then we have values coding. So values coding is again associated with the cultural thing. Okay, so cultural thing. I have also discussed this cultural thing previously. Can anyone say what was that in which we discussed cultural? Can anyone write in the chat box? With what qualitative method this values coding can be important? Can anyone write in the chat box? Yes, yes. Right. So in vivo coding, when we go for in vivo coding, where we try to know about the cultural practice of the people, or we want to know about their experiences about life, then we can go for values coding, in which is mostly engaged with the attitudes of people, or the beliefs of people, or the value system of people. So you have to be very clear in your research thread. Golden thread. I'm telling this again and again to make you very clear that we have to be very clear in our research. Sorry, in our golden thread, that what will be the things that you are going to use in your research. Because if that thing will not be clear to you in the first step, then it will be very difficult to interpret the findings, isn't it? So these were the 5 types of coding. Okay. Now let us go to the coding thing. Okay. So suppose we have a transcript. Okay. Suppose we have a transcript in which a person has written the research question is that what soft drink does he like? Okay. What soft drink does the person like? Suppose you are researching a university students and you're asking that what are the soft drinks that they like. So they will give you a lot of examples of different soft drinks that they take. So we can develop quotes out of them, such as whether they like soda drink, or they like lime water, or they like cola. So this can be different type of quotes, and then we will try to merge those quotes. Suppose one or two quotes are similar. Suppose a code is called lime water and the second code is called lemon water. We can try to merge both the codes together because they are speaking the same thing. And when we try to merge the codes, we arrive at themes. So themes are the broader part which emerge from the codes. So this is what is meant by line coding. We go through each and every sentence in our text, and then we provide codes to them. Okay. Now this is the stage 3. Okay. In first stage we have discussed. Second stage also we have discussed how we go for coding, and then we arrive at analysis part. Okay. So this coding part is common for all type of analysis in qualitative analysis. But now when you are moving to the analysis part, you have to be clear that what you are going to do, whether you are going to conduct content analysis, whether you are going to conduct thematic analysis, or whether you are going to conduct discourse analysis, or whether you are going to conduct IPA, whatever you want to conduct. Now you should be very clear in your mind, though it is fixed earlier on, but this is the best stage to decide. Okay, this is the best stage to decide that what type of analysis you are going to make use of, content analysis or thematic analysis or discourse analysis. So in the demonstration that I'll be giving you today is about thematic analysis. Okay, I'm not going to cover content analysis and discourse analysis in this 2 hours time. I want to make you very thorough on thematic analysis. Okay, so we'll be covering thematic analysis today. So we'll try to do that thing with NVivo software. So now I will just jump to NVivo software, but before that, I would like to use the researcher should ask this question before going for analysis part. The researcher should ask this question to themselves. What are those questions? Those questions are: what actions and interactions are shown in the data? Okay, so whatever data he is going uh, uh, to analyze, what actions and interactions will be shown in that data? What are the main aims of those interactions? How do participants interpret what is happening? What their choice of language is revealing? What assumptions are the participants making beforehand? What the participants are doing? Suppose they are engaged in some non-verbal thing. Okay, it is not always necessary in qualitative analysis that a person will always speak. You also have to be a very good observer. Okay, so you have to observe the people. What do they exactly mean? Okay, what are they trying to say? So with what this is what is meant by observing the non-verbal cues as well. Then you have to be very clear that what I am going to learn from this analysis and what we are going to find from this analysis. Okay, so this might be a bit confusing to all of you, these questions. I will just go with the demonstration, and after that uh, we will come to the this part again. Okay, so let us go to NVivo now. I hope all of you are ready. So we will start the NVivo demonstration. Okay. So just a second. Yeah, is my NVivo screen visible to all of you? Please write yes in the chat box. Okay. So this is the NVivo screen. Whenever you will open this NVivo software, so you might be knowing that NVivo is a paid software, and our university has subscribed to it. So that is why I'm using this software today. So this is a paid software, but it is not too costly, so you can afford it. But this qualitative coding, it can also be performed using Microsoft Word. Okay, so you don't have to purchase any software as such. We have access to this software, that is why we are using it. Otherwise, you can also make use of Microsoft Word, okay, if it is available to you. So this is how this NVivo screen will look like. Okay, this is how this NVivo screen will look like when you open this NVivo. Then what we'll do, we will click on new project. We'll click on new project. Let us click new project. After we have clicked new project, what we'll do is we will give a project title. Okay, we'll give a project title. Suppose I give a project title as demo uni Athena. Okay, so you just have to provide a title to it, project title, and then you have to click on next. Then you have to click on next. Then you have to leave this unchanged, and you have to click on create project. You have to click on create project. Then NVivo will take some time depending on your software processing speed of your computer, and a new screen will open. Okay, so let us wait for 5 to 6 seconds. So this screen will appear. Okay, I hope all of you can see this screen. After creating the project, this screen will appear. Okay, this screen will appear. Everyone can see this screen. File, home, import, create, explore, share, modules is written on the screen. Okay, so what we'll do is we will try to import. We will click on the import tab. We'll click on import tab, and then what we are going to have is we are going to have an interview. We have conducted one interview. That interview is kept in Microsoft Word format. Okay, whatever format you are having, this NVivo is a very powerful software. It can read that format. Okay, so suppose we have written the interview in Microsoft Word, so we will import that file into NVivo. So we'll click on files, import, then files. We'll click import, then we'll click on files, and then we will select the interview transcript. We will select the interview transcript, and we will click OK. open. After clicking on open, this tab will appear. Okay. So we will click on import. We'll click on import. So we will click on import. Then this document properties, this will pop up. Document properties. We'll just click on OK. Now this file has been imported to your NVivo software. Okay, this file has been imported. What we'll do, we'll just double click this. We will double click on that interview transcript Word file. When we double click on that, you can see the same interview transcript over here. Okay. So I have made use of one interview transcript which was given in the book, The Coding Manual for Qualitative Researchers, third edition, which is a book written by Johnny Saldana. This is a very famous book on qualitative analysis written by Johnny Saldana. The name of the book is The Coding Manual for Qualitative Researchers, third edition. So in that book, this interview transcript is given. So a researcher, what he is doing is he is conducting a interview. Okay, he is conducting an interview. He has two research questions in mind. What are his research questions? His first research question is, what are the expectations of people? What are the experiences of people with digestive disorders? Okay, what are the experiences of people with digestive disorders? And the second research question is, how do people with digestive disorders cope with them? How do people with digestive disorders cope with them? Okay, so these are the two research questions that the person has framed. Okay, and that this person is going for grounded theory method. He does not have any predetermined theory or any predetermined code book with him. Okay, he's not having anything with him. So he is going to conduct interviews with 15 people. Say 15 students. He is going to conduct interview on 15 students, and those 15 students are suffering from some digestive disorders. Okay, only then he can conduct interviews with those people when they are suffering from this problem. Otherwise, there is no point in conducting interviews with any student, isn't it? So these two questions he has in mind. What are the experiences of people with digestive disorders? And the second question is, how do people with digestive disorders cope with them? Now he has designed a interview schedule, that what exactly he is going to ask in his interview question. What exactly questions he is going to ask with the people that he has selected. Okay. Now you can see the transcript of the interview. The interviewer is asking, I stands for interviewer. Okay. He is asking, how old were you when you first started to realize you are having problems with your digestion? Okay. So can you tell me what is this question called? He has asked a very general question. So what is this question called? If you start your interview with some general questions, why this general questions is useful? Can you write in the chat box that why people ask such general questions? Why do people ask such why do the researcher ask some general question before starting the interview? Can anyone write in the chat box? Okay. Absolutely. I have got a lot of answers in the chat box. So a lot of people are correct. A lot of you participants, thank you for your responses. A lot of you are correct. To get a familiarity about, to make them comfortable so that they can answer your interview. Okay. So we ask some general questions so that they are in a mood to answer your questions. Okay. So to build rapport between them, or to make yourself familiar, to make them comfortable, we go for such type of questions. Okay. So now after that, after they are familiar, ice breaking thing, right, to build rapport or something. Yes. So when once they are familiar with you, and then you will go with your question. Okay. So now see what he has asked. He has asked, Do you suffer from celiac disease? How would you define your discomfort? So this question arises from his research question. Okay, isn't it? This question arises from his research question, because the research question was, what are the experiences of people with digestive disorders? So he is asking, do you suffer from celiac, or how would you define your discomfort? Okay, so the answer to this is, my colonoscopy says no celiac and not inflammatory bowel disease. Okay, my blood marker test says I have inflammatory bowel disease. I would label myself definitely gluten intolerant. Okay, so now you have to code this sentence. Okay, so this sentence, so you can code either this sentence, or you can code either the entire paragraph. It depends on you whether you want to code the sentence or you want to code the entire paragraph. Suppose you feel that the coding sentence in this case will not help. It is better to code the entire paragraph. So what you will do is, you will just select the entire text and you will right click. After right clicking, you will see these all options. The first option is called code selection. Second option is called code in Vivo, then uncode, then new annotation, export document, print, copy, select all, link, document properties. So we will go for code selection. Okay, we'll click on code selection. We will click on code selection, and then this pop-up screen will arise. Now you have to code this paragraph. Okay, we will click on create new top level code. Okay, so my top level code for this will be gluten intolerant, because this patient, he or she is gluten intolerant. Okay, then we will click on code selection to new code. Okay, code selection to new code. After this is done, so our first code is ready. Now we will see the response to other questions. So see, the next question is, and for record, can you describe what that means? Gluten intolerance. How would you describe it? Okay, so he is asking, the researcher is asking for description of this disease, gluten intolerance. Okay, so now the response is, gluten intolerance means that your body just does not digest or break down or really absorb gluten. Okay, so we can get a code out of this. We can get a code of this. Then we will again click on code selection. And what we can do is, we can provide a child code to this. Since this is the master code, this is the top code, and how this code looks, how this disease looks like, what is the problem that people suffer from this disease. Since it is a part of gluten intolerance, we can say that this can be a child code. Okay, so child code, what we can write, inability to absorb can be a child code, isn't it? Then we'll click on code selection to inability to absorb. Yeah, then we will read the next sentence, and that protein is found in wheat. I would also say that I don't handle processed wheat well either. My symptoms are across the board. For me personally, I'll get joint pains, exhaustion, and I just feel incredibly full. Okay, so this person is providing some symptom. Okay, he is providing some symptom of his disease. Okay, so we can code this to symptoms. We'll click on code selection, and we can create a new code, and this new code will be called symptoms. We click on code selection to symptoms, and again we can provide what all symptoms he has said: joint pain, exhaustion. Then we will provide coding to this. This will be a child node of symptoms. What will be the child node? joint panes, or okay, so joint pain one is sufficient. So in this way, what we will do, we will try to code the entire text. We will try to code the entire text. Okay. After we are done with the coding, what we will do, and suppose we are interested in doing in vivo coding. Suppose we were conducting IPA, okay, or we were conducting what we call some cultural study, and we were interested in vivo coding. Suppose they have spoken in some language which can only be inferred by themselves. So we can go for in vivo coding. Okay. What we'll do in this case? In this case, suppose this migraine headaches, you want to code this word. What we will do, we will go for code selection and we will go for code in vivo. Can you see on the screen code in vivo? We'll click on that. If we click on that, the entire word will become a code. Okay, so this is what is meant by in vivo coding. This migraine headache will be one code. Okay, I hope it is clear to all of you till now. I hope it is clear to you till now. All of you can, yes, clear. Okay. Okay, fine. So we have created some 3 or 4 codes till now, isn't it? We have created 3 or 4 codes till now. Now what we'll do is we will see what all codes we have created. So just see on the left hand side in the coding part, you will see codes, isn't it? In the coding part, you will see codes. So we'll click on this codes. We'll click on codes and now you can see that these all codes you have created. Okay. So gluten code, gluten intolerant is one code. Then migraine headache is another code. Symptoms is another code. Isn't it? 3 codes we have created till now. And gluten intolerant, you can see this plus sign near gluten intolerant. What does that mean? This means that this gluten intolerant is also having child code. It is also having code within it. So the what is the code which is within it? The code is called inability to absorb. Okay. So in this way, what we'll do, we will keep on developing our codes. Okay. After our codes are complete, we will go for we will see the themes that emerge out of that codes. Okay. Suppose 2 codes are there which are related to each other. Then what we will do, we will merge the codes together. Okay, we will merge the codes together. Or suppose we see that this 2 codes has been repeated. Suppose two codes has been repeated. Then we will delete one of the code. It is very easy to delete. We'll just right click, and we can delete it from here. Okay. So in this way, we will code each and every interview. Suppose we have conducted 8 interviews, we will code each of them. So this is a very time-taking process. But once you are thorough with your codes, once you have completed the entire coding process, then what you can do is you can see the themes that have emerged from your codes, and you try to develop what we call you try to develop some models out of those themes. That how a person who is suffering from a disease, he is interpreting that disease in his own words, how he is able to how he is coping, what are the coping strategies of that person, how is he facing that disease in his day-to-day life. So through this course, you can develop some models, or you can develop some theories out of your own. If you are going for grounded theory approach, if you are not using what we call some theoretical framework, then you can try to develop your own theory, or you can try to develop your own model, isn't it? So this is how coding is important, and this is how you do this coding. Once you are done with your coding, what you can do is you can convert this codes into Excel. Okay. So just click on, just right click on the codes, and you can see an option called export. You can see an option called export. So there are 2 sub options: export code and export list. So whatever you can choose. So suppose we have chosen export list. We'll click on that export list. and you can easily download that thing in the Excel sheet. Okay, so an Excel sheet will appear. This is the Excel sheet. So see, these are the three codes that we have done our coding. Okay, so this is a very helpful tool. This NVivo is a very powerful tool. But let me see, let me show you something else. Suppose you are a very new researcher. I'll show you some beautiful aspects of NVivo. Okay, suppose you are a new researcher and you don't know anything about what your data is speaking. Okay, so if you are a new researcher, you don't know anything about what the data is speaking, what we can do is we can go for auto coding feature. I told you earlier also, earlier not to use this auto coding feature, but since you are new to your research and you just want to see that what the computer has to suggest you, what the software has to suggest. So what we will do is we will go for this option called auto code. You can see in the center there is an option called auto code. We'll click on that. We'll click on that. After clicking on that, you will see that this screen will appear. Identify themes, identify sentiment. So we'll go for identify themes. Okay. We'll go for identify themes and we'll click next. Then this software will analyze the entire transcript. And since it is a very small transcript, it is just a second. Let me do one thing. Let us go to the file and auto code it. Just a second. See, we have taken the entire file and we went for auto coding option. I'll just provide you how to do that. Please follow me. Okay, we will go to this files option. On the left hand side you can see this files. Okay, and we can see this interview transcript, whatever we had imported from our computer. Then we will click on the right click and we can see an option called auto code. Okay, we'll click on auto code. After clicking on auto code, you can see these all options: identify themes, identify sentiment, speaker name. We will just go for identify themes and click next. And then the computer will work and it will create lot of codes for you. Okay, it will also provide the name of theme. So you can see these are the themes and code that the computer has provided to you. Okay, I'll just read it out. So the first theme that the computer has identified for you is interview, and the codes of this interview are extended interview transcript, following interview, case interview. The second theme that it has identified is bowel, and the subcodes are inflammatory bowel disease, bowel issues. Third theme is research. The two codes are general research questions and researching people. The fourth theme is extended interview transcript, then middle school, then gluten intolerance. So you can see the computer has provided you, the software has provided you some basic idea on this transcript. Okay, it has provided you some basic idea on this transcript, that what all, it has provided you an idea that these are the codes that you can expect. So before going for in vivo coding or before going for line to line coding, you can make use of this auto code feature. Okay, this will help you in understanding the data set from the computer point of view, from the artificial intelligence point of view. It will help you in understanding the data. Okay, it will help you in choosing the the exact codes for your research. So then what we'll do, we'll go for next. We'll go for now, and we will tell you whether you want to code entire sentence or you want to code entire paragraph. Okay, so let us click on the code sentence part and just click on finish. After clicking on finish, you will see that the computer has generated, the software has generated few codes for you. which will be in a separate folder called auto-coded themes. So give some time. This software is taking some time for processing. After some time, you will see the themes that the computer has generated for you. Okay, so we'll click on codes. Just a second. It is still processing. You can use this same method. I'll take some questions in the chat in the chat box. Can we use these ways to code more interviews? Absolutely. With one interview, nothing will happen. Okay. So if we go for qualitative interviews, we conduct many of them. We conduct 3 interviews or 5 interviews or 8 interviews, whatever the number. The better the number, the better will be the results. So in the same manner, you will go for coding of other interviews. Okay, you will import 8 files. I have imported only 1 file today. You can import 8 files, okay, or 10 files, whatever, and you can create the codes in the same way. Okay. So now let us see. The computer has generated auto themes for us. Okay. So in the codes, when we click on the codes, you can see there is a sub tab called auto coded themes. We'll click on that, and you can see the auto coded themes that the computer has created for you. Blurred, vowel, doctors, extended interview transcripts. Now again, it is very easy to export it. Okay, we'll just click on any of them. We'll click on export, and we'll click on export list. We'll click on export list, and this MS Excel file will appear. We'll just see what the computer has provided us, what the software has provided us. And you can see that these were the themes and codes that the software has provided us. So see, it is really very easy if we go for auto coding part, and it is very easy for you. If you go for auto coding part, you can know the codes that appear from your data set. Okay. Now the next thing is that suppose you have collected all the codes. Okay, you have collected all the codes, and now you want to see. Now you want to write a thesis. Okay, you want to write a dissertation. In that, you have to explain the entire coding process. You will have to explain, isn't it? You will have to explain the entire coding process. So in order to strengthen your analysis, or research, you can make use of other things also, such as you can see the explore option over here. Explore option, isn't it? Explore option is there on the topmost central part. Explore option. You can try to make use of word frequency. Okay, we'll click on this word frequency, and we can see the 1000 most frequent words. 1000 most frequent words that was there in our text. So see this: like, really, just, no, gluten, yeah, eat, feel. These are the top words that were seen in this interview. Then you can see this option near summary is called word cloud. We'll click on word cloud and just allow some time for this software. Just allow some time, and it will create a word cloud for you. Okay. So if you are writing a thesis, you can also make use of these diagrams, this word cloud diagram or tree map diagram. This will help strengthen your thesis. Okay, this will help you to interpret the results in a better way, and then people will be more interested in your research. So suppose this word has no meaning in this, yeah or no or just has no meaning. So what you can do is you can click on that. You can click on that word. So this is called data cleaning. Okay. So you will have to do this data cleaning on your own. We will click on that word which is not required, and we will click on add to stop words list. We'll click on add to stop words list. We'll click on OK. Then this word will be removed. When we will run this again, we will run this query again now. Now this ye word, it will not come. Okay, let the computer process it. So this is how you can make your data set look more make your results look more interesting, and this is how you can explain your results in a much better way by making use of this word tree or making use of tree maps and so on. Okay, so this is how you can create your new model, or you can create your, see, this word cloud is developed now, and now this ye word cannot be seen in this, isn't it? So if you can remove other words also which you feel that is not relevant for your results, you can just remove it from here. This noise of no relevance, we can create it, we can remove it from our list. Okay, so in this way you can help generalize your results and you can make it look more interesting. Okay, so this was all about NVivo. Now again we will go to our presentation. We will again go to our presentation now. Just a second. So this NVivo, what we have done through this NVivo, we have done just two things. First, what we have done, we have tried to find out the codes. We have categorized the codes into different themes. Okay, so the first part that we have done through the software is called code categorization, and the second part is called theme identification, isn't it? So these are the two steps which the software will help you in doing. You can also make use of MS Word, but it is difficult to take note of everything using MS Word. With NVivo, it is a lot easier. Okay. Then what we have done is we have categorized the codes. Okay. Suppose the codes appeared as the person is suffering from multiple disease. So you can give it a theme as multiple disease encountered by that patient. Okay. So in this way, you can categorize the codes into different themes. Suppose you are conducting a research on some trees, that what all trees people prefer whenever they walk on road, the trees that people prefer to see on the road. So suppose a person will tell regarding his choice of tree. Suppose the person will tell about mango tree or pine tree or whatever. So you can categorize those trees. Okay, you can categorize those trees into fruit bearing trees or forest trees. So one of your theme could be fruit bearing tree, the other theme could be forest trees. So you will be the best judge in this. You will be since you are the researcher, you can be the best judge on how you can explain those themes or how you can make connections between the themes, how you can draw new connections between those themes. That depends entirely on you. That depends on the theoretical framework that you are using. If you are not using any theoretical framework, so then it depends entirely on you, on how you will interpret those results or how you will make it how you will give it a shape of a new model. Okay, so now when we have covered this NVivo, before we end and before we take your questions, I will like to give you some mistakes that people commit while conducting this thematic analysis. There are some common mistakes that people commit, which I'll be discussing now. After discussing this, we will be going for your question and answer. Okay. So the first thing that you always have to keep in your mind is that you have to keep that golden thread. Okay, that I have explained around 5 times today. That golden thread is that there should be a connection between whatever research question or research aim that you have framed. That should be decided beforehand. Otherwise, you can't do qualitative analysis because you will be lost in the information. Then the second thing that we need to remember is that we have to remember that thematic analysis is a iterative process. What do you mean by iterative process? We mean that we have to go through the same text again and again. It doesn't mean that once you have studied and it is over. You will have to read it again and again. You can get new insights. If you read it for 5 times, you can get 5 new insights. Okay, so you have to read it again and again. You have to devote a lot of time towards the transcripts. You have to read it again and again. You have to develop new codes and all. So this is what we mean by iterative process. The second thing that you need to remember. The third thing that you need to remember is that you have to expect the unexpected. Okay, suppose sometimes you will get some findings which are not backed by any theoretical framework, which are not backed by any conceptual framework. In that case, what you will do is you will try to make use of it. You can develop your own theory. How it is expected from the researchers to do something which no one has done before. So this qualitative analysis, it gives you a great what we call chance to find the unexpected. So whenever you see something which is deviating from the normal, which is something different from the theoretical framework that you are studying, it is welcome. It is welcome. Then other thing that you need to remember is that it is very essential to keep a research journal with you. What do you mean by research journal? By research journal, we mean that whatever new ideas that come to your mind while doing this coding, sometimes while doing this coding, some new ideas or new thoughts come to our mind. Okay, so you have to write those thoughts or your whatever ideas that came in your mind. You have to write those thoughts with a piece of pen and paper. You always keep a piece of pen and paper in your hand, because that idea might not stuck to you again. Okay, so it is always necessary whenever you go for coding, try to have some journal with you where you can write something. Then the other thing that you need to have while conducting this qualitative analysis is that you can make use of very good mind mapping techniques. Okay, if you want to draw a relationship between disease that is some disease and the person who is explaining regarding that disease, or who is suffering from that disease. If you want to make connection between two themes, okay, then you can make use of some beautiful diagrams. You might be knowing about a software called XMind. This is a great software in which you can make conceptual diagrams. You can make flowcharts without wasting any money. Okay, because this is a free software. So with that, you can better explain your theory to the audience, because a person is always interested in seeing more of figures and reading to less content. Okay, so instead of writing everything, you can explain your theory in some diagrams. Okay, it will be very helpful. And as I was telling earlier also, you can make use of different things that NVivo has to offer, like word clouds. So it will also help you to give a lot of insights to the audience. Okay. Now let us discuss the common mistakes that people commit. The first mistake that people commit while doing this qualitative analysis is that they don't follow the golden thread. Okay, the first mistake that they commit. The second mistake that people commit is that they go for auto coding. Okay, this auto coding is good thing, but you must not rely on auto coding. It will give you some results which is entirely it will not make any sense to you. So it is very important that you just make use of this auto coding only for your information. Okay, after you get some insights of that out of that auto coding, then try to develop your own codes. Okay, so don't rely on any of the software for auto coding. Then the third thing that you need to remember is that you have to specify the coding approach before starting the analysis. As I have told earlier also, that you have to tell to the audience that what you are going to do, whether you are making use of NVivo coding, or whether you are making use of process coding, or whether you are going for IPA, or whether you are going for thematic analysis. You have to be very clear regarding this approach that you are going to follow. Otherwise, you will be lost in the process. Then what you have to do is you have to have very good organizational skills. As I was speaking earlier also, that you have to always have a journal in your hand in which you can write, because sometimes the idea will not stuck in your mind again. So it is always essential to have some spreadsheets. If you can't afford a pen and paper everywhere, then you can have some Excel sheets where you can write your ideas. So this was all about qualitative analysis. I hope I was able to cover the subject in a great detail today. So I have only covered the thematic analysis, which is the most used technique in qualitative analysis nowadays. So if any one of you are having any questions, you can please unmute yourself and ask, or I will take the I will take the questions from question and answers column. So Prashant, can you?
Yeah, you can just open the Q&A
Okay.
tab. Like the
Okay.
first question is from Arman Khan. You can see, can we use this in recruitment in HR activities?
Yes, absolutely. You can use it in any domain. Okay, whatever domain you can, if you want to use, you can use. But you have to be very clear on who will be your respondents. Okay, whether your respondents are some HR professionals or the respondents are some students with whom you are going to conduct the interview, or if you are going to conduct some focus group discussions, who will be your audience for that. So these all things you have to be very clear um, while answering to this. Okay, so you can use it easily in HR and human resources management. Yeah.
Okay,
The
so next question is just a moment. Yeah, is there any hybrid between deductive and inductive coding?
Can you read it for me?
Is there a hybrid? Yeah, is there anything hybrid between deductive and inductive coding?
So see, hybrid means you can use both the approaches. Okay, so you can say that a mixed coding approach in which you can make use of both deductive and inductive coding. So this will help you a lot in understanding the data set in a better way. Okay, so this is not a this is called a mixed approach. It is not called a hybrid, but it is called a mixed approach. Okay.
Another question, is there any tool to assist in the transcription process?
Yeah, a lot of softwares are there which are helpful in transcription process. Even NVivo has a facility to transcribe the interviews, but this is an external software, so you will have to purchase some add-ons. With NVivo Basic Edition, you won't be getting it for free, so you will have to spend some other money also to get access to that. If you don't want to make use of NVivo, you can also use a lot of softwares. Some softwares are also available free of cost, but they have some time limit. You can transcribe the interviews only for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So you can make use of those softwares also. It's not necessary to make use of NVivo only.
Okay, so next question is, how does NVivo coding get affected by language barrier? Is there any language barrier?
Absolutely, there are a lot of language barriers. Suppose a person is not using English. See, this NVivo is also having limitation. It can help you in coding process only if it is in 8 languages, out of which English is one of the language. Suppose I am from India and Hindi is spoken widely over here. So NVivo doesn't support Hindi language. So in that case, you will have to make use of NVivo coding. Okay, so I have told this earlier also in my presentation that if you are going for some linguistic aspect, or if you are going for some cultural aspect, then you will have to make use of an NVivo coding. You will have to code the entire sentence as such as it is spoken by them. I hope it answered your question.
Okay.
Yeah, any other question?
Okay, so there is a question, in an attempt to gather data on increase of teenage pregnancy, what the research approach should be?
Please say it again.
Yeah, in an attempt to gather data on increasing of teenage pregnancy, what would be the research approach?
See, the researcher is best to see what will be the research approach. Okay, so you can go for thematic analysis. You can even go for IPA in that case, because it is something that you are exploring about a person. So you will be the best person to define what exactly it will fit in. Okay, so I can recommend IPA or I can recommend thematic analysis, but it is better that you should explain to this question, because you are going to conduct the research and you have to explain it to your audience how you made use of those to answer your research questions.
Okay, so can we use autocode to code many interviews?
Absolutely. You can code n number of interviews using auto coding feature, but you should not rely on auto coding because it will give you different results, and those results might not be helpful in your dissertation or thesis. So you can make use of auto coding for any number of interviews or any number of documents.
Okay, so okay, next question is that most of literature claims that qualitative data cannot generalized, but you have mentioned something on generalization. Is it proper to generalize qualitative research?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question and a very good question also. So see, the qualitative researcher, how is he different from a quantitative researcher? A qualitative researcher is responsible for telling something to the society which has not been done before. Okay, so it is your this qualitative research plays a lot of importance when you have to say something new with the help of grounded theory approach. You can tell to the audience something new which is happening. A quantitative researcher, what he will do, he will just analyze those things which is already being done by something. He will try to prove something. He will try to draw some hypothesis. He will try to make connections between this. He will try to correlate between different aspects, but he will not be able to give a new theory. So a qualitative researcher is can provide his own theory. He can provide a new generalization, but that theory will be accepted only when you don't have any bias while propounding that theory. You don't have any researcher bias while propounding that theory. If you strictly adhere to the research ethics, then you can give it a try. Okay, so it can be easily generalizable, your qualitative research, if you are unbiased, if your sample size is good, and if you have used the right ethics. Okay, so qualitative people, they are known for generalizations. I hope it answered your question.
Okay, the next question is, will you recommend a triangulation method for an eclectic research?
For a eclectic research,
Yeah.
will you please explain what you mean by this? Actually, triangulation is recommended for any sort of research. It will provide validity to your research. With research, what do we mean? It should be valid, isn't it? It should be more valid. It should be more reliable. So if we add triangulation to it, it will add validity to it. So it is always recommended to go for triangulation.
Okay. Okay. If I had a video to analyze or an interview, could I use NVivo for video?
Yes, you can use NVivo for video as well. It works with video also. So it will break the videos into different timeline. It will break the video into different timeline. So you can just pause the video for that timeline. Suppose you can pause the video for 10 seconds, and then you can code it. That in the first 10 seconds, what was the code that the person has described. So in this way, you can easily work with videos or images as well. Yeah, anything else?
Okay. Yeah. So I see it's a tedious process to code open-ended answer using this software. How we can ensure quality data output?
That depends on your research question that you have framed. So before starting the qualitative research, you have to develop your own research questions. So with whatever research question you have framed, whatever research question you have in your mind, with that research question only, you will ask questions to the audience, to the open-ended questions to the audience. So then you will have to analyze those open-ended questions. I hope it answered your question.
Yeah. Okay, when dealing with a very large samples, how do we manage with the volume? Is there possible integration with NLP tools?
Integration with what?
When dealing with large samples, how do we manage with the volume?
Okay.
Are there possible integration with NLP tool, maybe like natural language processing tools he's asking?
So see, if you go for NVivo software, so this software can easily accommodate around 100 pages of what we call content. So if you are going for qualitative interviews, how many interviews will you conduct? A maximum of 15 interviews or 20 interviews, that will run into 100 pages at the max. So this 100 pages can easily be accommodated by NVivo software. Okay, so I don't think that having a great number of interviews will be a problem if you are working with NVivo. I hope it answered your question.
Okay, so next question is, does the answer provided by autocode correlate with respondent's view?
Yeah, it will correlate with respondent's view, but you will be the best judge. Since you are the researcher, you should be the best judge in deciding whether it is correlating with the view or not. Sometimes you will see it is not correlating. So you will have to remove those, or you will not make use of those codes. So being a researcher, you should be answering this question whether those codes are really relevant or not. But in most of the cases, you will get some insights out of those auto coding codes. You will get some insights, but you should not entirely rely on those insights. You should make your own generalizations.
Okay. So next question is, how do you verify the validity and reliability of your data? Take the special case of using in NVivo.
Okay, that's a great question, and I was really expecting this question. So if you want to validate your data, okay, so the best method is that you can go for Cronbach alpha. Okay, this is the method of quantitative analysis, but you can also use it in qualitative analysis. So in this, what you will do, you can have 2 or 3 researchers who are working on the same aspect, and first you will ask one of the researcher to code, and then you will ask the other researcher, say researcher 2, to code. Then you will find that what is the how much their coding are matching with each other. If their coding matches to a great extent, suppose that the coding matches to over 70%, you can say that the result is very, very reliable or very, very valid. Okay, if it matches for more than 70%, if it doesn't match, if it is not match, if it is the match is less than 50%, then there is some problem with the coding. So it is better to go for more researchers and try to see what they have to code. I hope it is clear now.
Okay, so the next question is from Horton. Is it possible to use any of these methods and coding in financial investigation and auditing?
So if you are dealing with qualitative data, such as interviews, such as focus group discussion, then this can be used in any domain, whether it is financial or whether it is management or whatever. But if you are having some data with you, such as some numbers with you, suppose the sales figures, then you can't use this qualitative analysis. This is only valid for qualitative part, in which some words are used or some language is used. I hope I am clear.
Okay, so the next question is it possible to do NVivo coding for an entire text which is in another language?
Yeah, you can go for NVivo coding for entire text in other language, but you must be knowing that language. Otherwise, how you will do the coding? So the researcher should be familiar with that language, and then you can translate it to whatever language you speak.
Okay.
You can go for NVivo coding in that case.
Okay, so next question is from Laurent. NVivo coding can be used in grounded theory, because I have seen that you have focused in thematic analysis.
Yeah, it can be used in. So if we want to go for grounded theory, we can make use of thematic analysis also. Okay, so suppose we don't have anything in our mind, so both of this will be common. The thematic analysis and grounded theory both will be a common approach if we don't have anything in our mind before starting our research. So we can easily use grounded theory also in this case.
Okay, so the next question is from Hen. The coding process that we have seen today suggests it is highly subjective process. Yeah. Is it normal for the coding process to be challenged?
Yes, that is why it is normal to be challenged. That is why you don't have to bring bias in your analysis. In your results, you don't have to bring any bias. You have to adhere to the research ethics. You have to keep your golden thread in your mind. And secondly, if you want to add more validity to your research, you can go for Cronbach alpha. You can go for more number of researchers who will be engaged in the coding process. And you can see the interaction between the researchers, whether there is correlation between the coding pattern of different researchers. In this way you can add validity to your research. Okay, so that is a very beautiful question.
Okay, so The next question is, how do we communicate insights from qualitative research, since there can be notions that can't be clearly explained compared to quantitative research?
So you can make use of some theoretical framework. You don't go for a grounded approach, grounded theory. Then you go just go for some you have some what we call theoretical assumption in your mind before conducting the research. You just try to have some theoretical orientation in your mind, and just try to try out that theoretical framework. Then what will happen is that you can easily generalize those results in view of that theoretical framework that you have used.
Okay, that was nice. So how do we deal with the literature review section when doing grounded theory?
How do we deal with literature review section
when doing grounded theory?
Yeah, so literature review section, yeah, that is a very good question. How do we deal with literature review section? See, with grounded theory, what you have to do is you don't have to write in literature review what you have, what exactly is existing, but it is expected from a researcher. Since you are a researcher, you don't go, you have some preconceived idea in your mind, isn't it? It is not always recommended that you go to any research study without having anything in your mind. So you can write some assumptions in that research literature review research part. I know why you are confused regarding this, because this will be a question that the advisor will ask you, that what you will write in that approach. You can write something about grounded approach in your literature review section, that how this literature grounded theory has started, how what is the why this approach is used, and why I have used this approach in my research. You can write that in your review literature part. That will give you a lot of insights to the what we call readers.
Okay, so the next question is, when you are using two theories, how do you select the type of coding you want to use?
So you will have to integrate the both the theories. You will have to integrate both the theories, and you will have to see whether both the theories are related or not. Suppose there is no relation between the two theories, so it is better not to use the two theories. Only if there is a relation between the two theories, only then it should be used. Otherwise, you will be creating a problem there will be a great problem in the analysis part. You won't be able to generalize the things if you are using two theory and both are unrelated.
Okay, so Max QDA and NVivo, which one is efficient and user friendly for beginners in QDA?
Will you please repeat it again?
Max QDA and NVivo, which one is efficient and user friendly for beginners in QDA?
So since if you I have used NVivo when I started using this qualitative analysis, when I started doing this qualitative analysis, I started using NVivo. So I am more familiar with NVivo. Okay, but if you start with Max QDA, it might be possible that you will gain more familiarity with Max QDA. Both the softwares will do the same thing. Okay, there will be very little difference between both the softwares. Suppose you are conducting an analysis with R and you are conducting an analysis with SPSS. Both will provide you the same result, isn't it? The thing is that which you are comfortable with which software. So it depends entirely on you what you want to use. But NVivo is having very user friendly interface. I'm using it since last 3 years. I don't feel any difficulty in doing this. I am not familiar with Max QDA, so sorry.
Max QDA I have used, Dr. Adit, many times.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very like similar to NVivo, and like Max NVivo is very much updated and upgraded thing. So every time they come up with the new updates, okay. Right. But the Max QDA is like a little bit slow in this market. But yeah, for starting, like they can use Max QDA, and the resources are available for Max QDA in a large like scale on YouTube. You can get a lot of resources for that. So I think I would suggest that you can go for anyone, no problem. Resources are there, and you can just access the 15 days trial, free trial. But I would suggest that before starting or downloading or using this Max QD or NVivo, make sure you ready with the all kind of documentation, because you get only 15 days of trial, and make sure that you complete your analysis process in this 15 days. I think so that's a good thing if your organization or your institute are not ready to buy. So this is the best thing you can do.
Right, right. So Atlas TI is also there, and that is also a great
Yeah,
software. But all of them,
Atlas TI. Yeah, Atlas TI.
yeah, Atlas TI is also a software. So you can use any of them.
Okay, so we will take few calls also. I think there are few attendees who really wanted to connect you directly. So it will be like good experience for them also to connect you directly over the call. So
Fine.
I'll take one by one. Okay, just a moment. I'm
Okay.
just yeah, organizing the things. Okay, so Stephen, you can ask your question. Stephen, you can unmute yourself and you can ask. Stephen, are you there? Okay, I think Stephen is not there.
I think he is having some difficulty in unmuting himself.
Yeah. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
We will take Aqua.
Yes, Aqua Park QSC. You
Yeah.
can go with your question.
Aqua, are you there? Okay, let's move to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, you want to ask question?
You can write in the chat box if it is not possible for you to unmute yourself or you are facing some connectivity issues. You can write in the chat box.
Hello. Yes, Stephen is here, sir.
Hey, hi. Yeah, please let us know your name.
Yeah, I'm Stephen.
Steven, yeah, please ask your question.
Yeah. I was supposed to join earlier on. It was quite unfortunate.
No
Yeah, I
problem.
had.
You can access this video on YouTube.
Oh, okay. So I couldn't join early.
No
Yeah,
problem.
so I have a problem understanding the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, are there any offline readings as well on it?
Offline, you can visit YouTube, Facebook, anywhere, and like I will share the link over here. Okay, YouTube link, so you can go over there and you can just watch this complete workshop once again. Okay.
All right. Well, can we also get our
Uh,
panelist contacts if any challenge we can
yeah,
contact?
definitely. He will definitely happy to share his contact for any kind of research work or any kind of help. No problem at all. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we will need that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, we are much grateful. I'm in particular. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, sir.
So
Okay.
if you have any research related question, you can ask. For logistic issues, you can ask me. If you have any issue with certificate or if you have any issue with logistical issue, you can ask Uni Athena. If you have any research related issue, you can ask right now.
Okay, so we'll take another question.
Yeah.
This is Vijay.
Okay.
Vijay, you there? Ujay, sorry.
Yes, Vijay, you can go ahead.
Ujay, you can unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hey, hi.
Yeah. My name is UJ Vam. I'm from Liberia, and thanks for the workshops. But my concern is, are you guys going to share the PowerPoint slide to us to to go through the presentation, because I'm just joining the workshop.
Okay. So no problem. I am sharing the link for the YouTube. Okay. So you can access this whole workshop over there on YouTube. Okay. And like you can again put your queries, questions over there in YouTube chat box. So we will definitely be writing you back.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so next.
I have a last question, please.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Are we going to have an e-certificate for participating in the workshop?
Definitely you will be getting certificates. Okay. Yeah, it will be mailed to you within 10 to 12 days.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so let's call in. You can ask your question. Okay, I think he's not there. Okay, Peter, you want to ask?
Yeah,
Peter, please. Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you so very much for this opportunity. I'm calling all the way from Cameroon.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so the meeting is very, very important. Okay. And so apart from the Vivo analysis, what is just usually explained, I was thinking that maybe there are some other tools that you can also use, maybe when I'm assessing data in the field. So because when it comes to qualitative data analysis, for me, based on my understanding, the process of examining the quality data to provide some level of explanation or interpretations. Now, my question is, what are some of the measures or some steps in which data can be preserved, like to save, without being shared to like that being exposed? So I don't know if you can also explain that to us as well.
Okay, Dr. Aditya, you got something?
Sorry, there's activity issue. Will you repeat the question for me?
Can you please repeat the question?
Yes, I was asking like if there's some possibility for in which there's other means in which data can be saved, because you have actually explained on how data can be collected or in which data can be preserved using the Vivo. So I don't know. I'm also being worried because the issue is collecting data is another thing, and to preserve or to save the data is another issue. Because coming to qualitative data analysis, the process of examining the data to improve or to provide some level of explanation, interpretation, and understanding of some specific issue. Now, let's say you have someone that you have to collect some information. Let me say that a focus group discussion. I don't know how to preserve, how the data can be preserved without being exposed or without being leaked out.
So as far as I can understand, there is a separate protocol for focus group discussion, or there is separate protocol for conducting in-person interviews. So you will have to get in touch with the book, with the relevant resource also, which can help you in understanding how to conduct focus group discussions, or what is the method to conduct focus group discussion. So you can go to Google Scholar and you can see that how these methods can be conducted in the real scenario. Okay, so I will not cover those things in this workshop because being a qualitative researcher, you should be knowing on how to conduct a personalized interview, how to conduct one-to-one interview, or how to conduct focus group discussions, or how to conduct a case study. So you will have to learn this from from some textbook in qualitative research. I hope it answers your question.
Yeah, you also answered my question. So my last question is, why is data coding very important?
Data coding is the basic foundation of qualitative research. Without coding, how you will develop themes? So line by line coding is mostly recommended. It is a tedious process, but until and unless you go for coding, no one will accept your research. Your research won't be published if you don't go for coding, if you directly go for thematic analysis. That is why there's a lot of importance of coding. Okay.
Wow, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm very happy with the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so next we will be taking Melvin. Hey, Melvin. Melvin, you there? I think he's not there. Charles Daniel.
Yes.
Yeah, you can ask your question.
Okay. Mine is not a question. Mine
Okay.
is simply an appreciation. I'm really very happy with the workshop.
Okay.
It was
that's
very
good.
informative. Yeah. So the only question I would want to ask is there any possibility of having another workshop in the future on quantitative analysis? So
Yeah,
that
definitely,
will-
Charles. Definitely, we
Yes.
will be looking, yeah, to design such kind of similar kind of workshop in future, and you will be informed. Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, Dr. Sinha, thank you so much for the
Thank you.
presentation. Yeah. Thank you a lot.
Thank you for your presence. Okay, so Austin is there. Austin. Yeah. Austin.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
please ask your question.
Yes. I'm Augustin from DRC. I was
Great.
expected to have some explanation on how to link two interviews when coding. How to link two interviews and how to link again the attribute and what again? Yes, the link, how to link two interviews. Because when we are coding, we are working on the sum coding tree. And so if you have many interviews, how to link each one to have the sum result at the end?
Right. That's an interesting question. So you can use the same template for all sort of coding. Okay, suppose you are going for five interviews. So you can go for the same what we call template for conducting all the 5 interviews. So each and every respondent in those interviews will respond differently to your questions, isn't it? The respondent is different, so they will respond differently to your questions. So that will be a great method to start.
Okay, the last question, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said that we can use the auto coding way.
Yeah.
And now I would like to know what is the difference between using mind map and using auto coding directly when you are coding your interviews.
Okay. So with auto coding, the computer will do the coding for you. The software will do the coding for you using artificial intelligence. So the software will not be able to detect the codes in such an accurate manner. Okay, because human coding is entirely different. We provide lot of insights which the computer is unable to provide. So it is always better to get insights from auto coding and then do the coding from our own part. Human beings cannot be replaced by software, isn't it? So it is always better to go for manual coding that I explained in this video today. Auto coding will give you some insights, but it is always recommended to go for manual coding because you will be the best person to code the sentences. Computer can just help you. The software can just help you. I hope
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you very much, and very glad to follow this workshop.
Yeah, thank you so much for participating.
Okay, so next we will take Peter.
Yeah, I think I've spoken already. So
okay.
Yeah, I've
That's
spoken
great.
already. So I think everything's okay. So I'll be waiting for.
Okay. Charles Daniel.
Yes, I just forgot to mention the country where I'm connecting from. I'm connecting from Rwanda, Kigali.
Oh, great.
Yeah, just to help you.
Yeah, Charles, please have your question.
There's no question.
Okay,
I'd already
thank you.
commented. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for. We have Nasiru Saad.
Someone has written in the chat box. Prashant, can you take his call? Kwasi Pudiabor. He has raised his hand. He has written in the chat box.
Kwasi. Just a moment.
Hello.
Yeah, please have your question.
Yeah.
Good day. Hello.
Yeah, hi, please have your question.
Yeah,
it's not a question. It's just to ask whether the workshop will host soon.
Sorry, can you please repeat?
I said, I'm asking whether a next workshop will hold.
Yeah, definitely. A very similar kind of workshop will be there. Okay. And the more informative and more intense workshop will be there, and it will be informed very soon to you all via email or via like any kind of communication channel.
Thank you very much for the workshop.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, please. I'd like to say again if you can share with us the contact of the facilitator for keeping contact with him, because we can have some issues when working, so we can contact him to help us.
Okay, I'm just providing his email ID, okay, so that you can contact me. Okay.
I will write the email ID.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm writing my email ID in the chat box. So if you have any questions in future, you can write to me on this.
Thank
you.
Okay, so next we can take Stanley. Stanley, please have your question. Hey, hi, Stanley.
Thank you for this insightful session. It was quite informative and I appreciate. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Stanley.
Okay, so my question is about okay, basically when it was analyzing the types of coding and all of that, I noticed I've been doing more of structural coding most times. So, but the issue with structural coding I discovered over the years is I work in a research organization. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
So most times when I structure my codes and I'm trying to write out narratives based on themes, I discovered that there are some isolated ideas that ordinarily would be interesting, would be nice to include in maybe in my narratives. You understand? I usually have a lot of information that are thrown away. You get. So how do I manage such situations?
You can combine the two approaches. You can combine structural analysis, structural coding with narrative analysis. So this will be a great. You can structure the interview beforehand before going for the narrative analysis. So that can also be. But I have a there's a caveat to it. So with what we call narrative analysis, it is recommended sometimes to come to set the questions in a flow. Okay, so you should not be having everything structured beforehand. So as you are asking questions from the participants, they might have something to say which is not mentioned in your question book. Okay, so it is always better while conducting narrative analysis to give lot of scope for the people to respond apart from what you have what questions you have set. Am I clear to you?
You are clear, but my challenge is like we all know in research, it's best to keep your narrative simple. You get. So connecting most times, you know, it brings a whole lot of ideas, and so that's the challenge I'm having.
So you will have to create a lot of flowcharts. So being a researcher, you need to create a lot of flowcharts or a lot of diagrams in order to draw connections between different things. That is why I told in my presentation that you should be making use of some apps like XMind or like or by using Microsoft Excel also. Sorry, Excel not Microsoft PowerPoint also. You can try to draw connections between different themes. So that is on the part of researcher to decide how well connections you can describe between the themes. Okay. So
Okay.
if I
So
have an opportunity, I can take a session on X maps. So in that it will be helpful for you to draw connections between different things.
okay. Thank you, Doctor. Please, I know it's difficult, but I want to ask you a favor. Can you share the PPT chat with us for this training, for this webinar?
Yes, Prasad. You can ask.
PPT will be available on YouTube video. You can access the PPT content from there. Okay, but PPT is an proprietor of Dr. Aditya, and you need to get proper permission for that, for using any content from his PPT.
No, not using, just to go through the webinar.
Yeah,
again.
that you can access from YouTube. That you can access from YouTube. It will be available 24/7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Stanley, for joining. Okay, next we will take Mukalia Ying Sani. Okay, so you can have your question. Where you go?
Yes, Natalia, please go ahead with your question.
Hello, can you listen us? Okay, let it be. Okay, we have Tinase. Yeah, Tinase, you can have your question, please.
All right, thank you very much.
Hey.
Thank you very much for the workshop.
Thank you.
I'm kind of new to this field of qualitative data analysis. And so I'm not too sure where the stage we got today is like the final stage, because I didn't get to, actually interpret or, get to conclusions. Like for the example that we did where we were, people were being asked, or the research was being done to see maybe the experience of people with, digestive disorders. I'm not too sure. So I need to ask, was that the final step, or the other stages that go after that, and then maybe you can then be able to interpret it? Because I'm usually into quantitative data analysis, where you then come up with graphs and these visual aids to actually present your data. So I'm not too sure, and maybe I might need guidance to say, if it's not the last stage, how do I go about from creating the themes or theme identification to interpreting the data, etc., etc. Thank you very much.
Yes, Tinase, thank you for this question. So suppose you told that you are a quantitative researcher. So nowadays, what is happening throughout the world is that a new system of method has arisen, which is called mixed method research. So if you combine both the approaches, qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis, you will be able to get some good papers. You will get some good publications. So it is on the part of researcher how well he can combine the qualitative part and quantitative part. So it is always recommended. It is better to, if you are a quantitative researcher, I can suggest you that you can go for quantitative analysis, and then you can support your data, that whatever analysis you have done in quantitative analysis, you can support the data with the help of qualitative analysis. So after suppose whatever results you have got out of quantitative, you can then conduct qualitative interviews, or you can conduct focus group discussions, and you can see whether your results are aligning with the qualitative aspect or not. That is why qualitative analysis is called the soft part of research, while quantitative is called the hard part. So if you combine both the soft and hard part, you will get very good papers, and you will be able to prove your research to the scientific community in a better way. I hope this made some sense.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. But my question was, when we did our presentation, or during this workshop, the stage where we left, or where we ended, is it the final stage or the final step? Because we didn't get to interpret the results or to make conclusions from the results that were gathered during the research. That was my question.
Okay. So this workshop, it provides you the basics of qualitative research. Though it was the end in itself, but it provides you the basics. So if you will cover the detail, if you will go for advanced workshops, then we can discuss a research question, and then we can see how we have conducted one interview. We can conduct one interview, then we can code it, then we can generate themes, then we can write those themes, then we can explain those themes. We can connect those themes with a theoretical framework. That can be done in a workshop which will run into a day or something.
So he's expecting an end-to-end
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah,
So
yes,
starting
yes, yes.
from so end to end. So sometimes definitely we will plan similar kind of workshop, Tinase, very soon.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much for joining. So next is Nazairu. Okay. Nazairu Garba. Yeah, please, can you have your question, please?
Hello, can you hear me now, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, please have your question.
I'm new here, so I just joined the webinar.
Yeah,
And I got lost since the time that he started pressing his computer. So I don't know the application he's using. So I need more knowledge about that.
Okay. You have any question related to this workshop? You have any question related to this workshop?
Yes, I need more light on that inductive and deductive thing.
Okay, what exactly you wanna ask? You can ask Dr. Aditya.
I said that I understand this thing, all the theories that he has explained, but when the time he started, pressing his computer, moving to one application like that, I don't know the website, so I want to know this thing, and I need more light on that inductive and deductive things.
So inductive approach and deductive approach, I guess you are asking this. So in
Yes.
So in deductive approach, what we do is we have some pre-existing theory in our mind, and we just want to see whether that theory is working or not. So we already have our codes ready when we are doing deductive analysis. But in case of inductive analysis, what happens is that we develop our own codes. Okay, we don't have any preconceived idea. We develop our own codes. So inductive approach is very much used in grounded theory. You can go to the section again. I have explained all these things in greater detail there.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, can I go ahead? This is Kwashi.
Yeah, please.
Thank you again for the opportunity to participate in this webinar. I just a Zoom call. I'm trying to understand the earliest notion that qualitative studies or research can lead to generalizable data or conclusion is what I'm battling with. I wanted to just let it rest, but I'm finding it hard because from understanding is qualitative studies are meant to understand in depth certain behavior, social norms, gender roles, from ethnicity and religion. So within a certain group and smaller geographic areas. So being able to generalize those findings is what I'm having tough to take over.
So as far as I understood, what you were asking is that it is difficult to generalize the findings of qualitative research. So it is absolutely true. It is difficult to generalize the findings. But if you are having a very clear objective research objective in your mind, and if you are working with some theoretical framework, so then it is not difficult to generalize the findings. So it will help you a lot in generalizing the findings. And if you have very good, if you don't do any bias, if there is no researcher bias, if you have eliminated the researcher bias to a great extent, if you have made use of validity and reliability, then your results can be generalizable, and then people will think your research as valid. Okay.
Because the sample size alone is small. You do 2-3 focus groups or do 5-10 in-depth interviews. That is not sufficient for like a quantitative study where you do in hundreds, thousands, and be able to get, you do a sampling to see how representative your sampling is. With qualitative, we are not into sample size and how representative they are. So that's why I'm having it a big challenge, because you can't talk about even your anyway. Leave it.
Your question. So you need to do a lot of review, okay? And you can, with the help of reviews, you can see that previous researchers who have published in good journals, how many focused interviews they have conducted, how many interviews they have conducted. You can refer to those. While if you are conducting some, say you are conducting 8 focus group discussions, so you can refer those previous studies. So that will provide you more validity to your research, isn't it?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so next we will take Kika. Okay. Yeah, please ask your question.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, this is Tekeka.
Yeah, please have your question.
All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm calling from Sierra Leone. Yes, so I was struggling to get connected anyway. So I missed the presentation, but however, based on my experience, I realize you are emphasizing on coding. So the confusion I have here is that what's the thin line of difference between a quantitative approach and qualitative, especially when at the end of any qualitative or a focus group discussion, you would definitely have to code the responses, which would then appear as if the study is a quantitative study. So is there any distinction if you had already converted the responses to codes, which will seemingly make it look like a quantitative? Why then refer to this approach as qualitative?
Can you be specific to your question? I could not follow you. Can you be very specific regarding your question?
All right. My question is, why do we have to code a qualitative response? If we are coding qualitative response, why not then refer to it as a quantitative approach or a quantitative method?
Yeah. I guess you have not listened to the entire presentation, entire workshop. So I told you before that we need to code the qualitative research because we need to generate some themes. We need to generate some ideas out of it. If we will go for coding in a frequency manner, then we go for content analysis. Okay, in content analysis, what we do, we code the frequency of how many times the phrase or how many times the words have appeared in the text. But that is more related to quantitative analysis. So if we do hardcore, what we call qualitative analysis, then we go for coding and then grouping the codes into themes. I hope it is clear.
That's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You can go through this presentation again on YouTube link.
All right.
Okay, so next we will take Joseph. Yeah, Joseph, please have your question. Joseph.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Please have your question.
No, the slides, I was just trying to see if maybe we can share the slides with us. I would appreciate, please.
Okay, Joseph, the complete workshop video or slides are shared on YouTube. Okay, you can access all the details from the YouTube.
Okay, sir.
In
Thank
the
you so
chat
much.
box, I have shared the link also
All
several
right,
times.
Chief.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so next we have Olwasen. Olwasen. Yeah, please have your question. Wealth. Okay, Usman. I think they are not there. Usman, can I have your question, please?
About the issues of this coding. When I
Yeah,
was
please.
when I
Yeah,
was
please have your question.
Yes, my question is that the types of codings I have know the data expressions and the error control. That is the channel coding and the line coding. So, is there any difference between this type and the inductive that you have listed before?
Either line by line coding or paragraph coding. It depends on the researcher, which is best fitting to your research questions. Okay, you can use either of these approaches.
Okay, thank you. So I didn't get you well. For this data compressions and error control for these types of decoding, I need more explanation about it.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Will you please say it again?
The types of data, types of coding, you listed inductive and that is the deductive types only. So what about this error control? That is the channel coding and line coding. All of them, are they part of the programming coding?
Yeah, line coding and channel coding is a type of coding that we do in the software. Okay.
Okay.
It depends on your research question. Whether you have interviewed or whether you have conducted focus group discussions, we use these approaches. But in case of deductive and inductive, this is the approach that we follow to conduct the research. This is the difference between the two.
Hello?
Okay, thank you, Usman. I hope the answer is clear to you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please have your question. Yeah, please have your question.
I wanted to ask a question. My network was bad, so I missed the explanation of grounded theory. So I didn't get it very well. And also, do we have any other software apart from NVivo software?
Disturbance. Please unmute. Some people have unmuted themselves.
Yeah, can you please repeat your question?
I said I missed, my network was bad, so I missed this explanation of grounded theory. I didn't get the explanation. And also, I want to ask whether do we have any other software that we can be able to use apart from this NVivo software?
Yeah, so whatever the section or session you missed, okay, this whole workshop session is available on YouTube, and I've shared multiple times the link, okay, in the chat section. You can access the whole video over there. And like Dr. Adit said, that apart from NVivo, we have Max QDA and Titan AI, so you can explore those softwares also.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, Abdul, please have your question.
Yeah, please, the presenter said that after data coding,
So after you've coded your data, then you have to generate some ideas.
Okay, yeah.
So after the ideas are generated, what do you use them for?
Sorry, you were not clear. You say it again.
I said after you've coded your data, the data code, you said you generate some ideas. So after the idea, so after you've generated your ideas, what do you use them for? What do you use the ideas for?
Yes, so when you have generated the codes, you can think of a theme. So different codes will tell you about different themes, isn't it? So you have to create a connection between the themes. That is what is meant by qualitative analysis, that you have to create, the code will help you in developing the theme. Okay. So similar codes can be grouped together in a single theme.
Okay, but we haven't learned how to develop the teams.
How to?
Develop the teams. We haven't learned how to develop the teams.
How to develop the themes with using codes has been discussed in the webinar. You can go through the webinar again.
Okay.
Okay, you can access the video. You can access our YouTube videos. I hope I've shared like the video link in the chat box.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Edgar, you can have your question.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, please have your question.
Yeah, so my question was initially to reiterate the question Tinashi asked. He asked about generating the code, that after generating the code, he was expecting something to be done, but nothing of that sort was done, unlike quantitative studies or analysis, whereby you use the p-values to actually interpret your data.
Yeah, data.
What will you do after you generate your teams? What criteria will you rely upon to interpret the teams you have generated? I think that was the question he was trying to actually put forward. So that's the question I wanted to ask or to re-emphasize.
Right. So if you have developed themes, okay. So you can either, if you have gone for a deductive approach, you already have a theoretical framework in your mind. You have some theory which you are going to test. So with the help of those themes that you have generated through your study, you can either contradict that theory or you can provide some addition to that theory. So that is the contribution that the researcher does, isn't it? He provides contribution to some existing research. He provides some new insights to that existing research. So if you are going for deductive approach, you can make new generalizations out of your study which has not been done yet, or with the help of inductive approach you can create a new theory altogether. I hope it is clear.
Yes, it is. It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best.
Okay, Collins, you can have your question. Colin. Tapiwa, you can have your question. Arma, you can have your question. Arma Ellen.
Okay,
Yeah,
mine was not actually questions, but I think it have already been answered. I was asking for the presentation and also some practice work so that we can be able to practice more. Thank you. Let me say thank you for the presentation and the time. Thank you again.
Okay, so as I said earlier, I have already shared the YouTube link for this complete workshop. So you can go and you can watch those videos several times and you can get access of all the section, all the points that has been discussed by Dr. Adit over there. And if you have any queries, you can write in the same like YouTube chat box. We will answer you definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kabir, you can have your question. Yeah, Kabir.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. First and foremost, I thank the presenter, the person of Doctor, for the wonderful presentation. It was awesome. It was awesome. So let me go straight to the point. My question is: the lecture was centered on more or less the training, the lecture on more or less the literature review. Can we have another more of, for example, if there will be to be used, we should be asked get aware, we get acquainted with the environment of the software that is going to. Then the next instruction will be, okay, do this, as in a step-by-step practice on how to do the data analysis. It was wonderful. It was interesting. But can we have that to be more of we get used to it and we carry ourselves along? That's my question.
Sorry, Kabir, your voice was breaking, so I could not understand what you were.
Kabir, can you write your question in the chat box?
You can write
it will
in the
be easier for us.
in the Q&A section. I'll be taking it from there.
All right, sir.
Okay, Kwashi is there. Kwashi, please have your question.
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this workshop.
Yes, I did. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Muhammad Ahmad. Ahmad Ibrahim, do you have any question? I think you have some network issue. If you have any question, please write in QA section or chat box. Yeah, please write your question in QA session. Okay, Lukman is there. Yeah, Lukman, please have your question.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm with you. I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Please have your question.
Yeah, I want to ask, while the process of explaining, I asked the question where he was actually asking about the HR performance analysis. So my question is, how is it possible? We were actually told during the course of research, performance in HR analysis has a specific procedure which one has to follow. So I think if we can actually give more insight on how we can actually perform HR qualitative or qualitative analysis.
So as far as I can understand, you want to do a research on HR aspects. So you will have to develop a research question. So this HR aspects is a broad term, isn't it? So you will have to develop specific questions out of this broad topic. So with in order to answer those questions, you will have to conduct a qualitative analysis. Whether you want to conduct an interview or a focus group discussion or a case study, whatever you want to do, first of all, you must be clear about the research questions. So that you will have to decide the research questions regarding HR and human resource management. You are the best judge to decide the research questions.
Okay.
I hope, Lukman, the answer was appropriate to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Wealth. Please have your question, Wealth. Okay, so we have Kwasi. Kwasi. Okay, I think they are not here. I think we have Stephania. Steffi? Yeah, please have your question. Okay, so Dr. Adit, I think we answered mostly all the questions. Yeah, please have your question. Do you have any question, Colin?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, please have your question.
Okay, yeah, I just want to understand the difference between inductive and the deductive. I remain behind on that part.
Okay.
Yes.
You can see the presentation again. In a nutshell, I would like to define that inductive approach is when you don't have any quotes with you. You are going to research without any quotes. You are discovering all the quotes by yourself. While deductive approach is called when we have some preconceived theory or theoretical framework in our mind. Then it is called deductive. That is the basic difference. You can go through this presentation again, and then you will get more clarity on this.
Okay, so obviously, if you really want to understand any topic in detail, you can watch the YouTube video of this workshop. Okay, and I've shared the link in the chat box also, and also I have sent on the QA section also, so you can have the complete understanding of this workshop again. You can watch several times, no problem at all. So it's been like long time. We have like exceeded our deadline now. So thank you all the participants and attendees over here who took your time to join this workshop, and I hope you enjoyed this workshop. And in the near future, I promise that we will come up with this similar kind of workshop, informative workshop, so that it will be helpful for you academics or business research. And lastly, I would like to thank Dr. Adit for giving this valuable time from his busy schedule to share his expertise into this qualitative analysis. Thank you, Dr. Adit, being with Uni Athena, and I hope in the near future we will just conduct this kind of several workshops. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us. Okay, and thank you attendees. Thank you, Dr. Adit.
Yeah, thank you so much,
Thank
Prasad. Thank you, Uni Athena, for this opportunity. So let us meet again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay, bye.